Hey everyone, welcome to the shop. So I mentioned a while back doing a video on how to finish a carving. This is just kind of the process that I do, and I'll share with you guys some of the tools that I use to get my carvings ready for paint or ready to burn and finish. So I don't know if you guys can see it well. Let me turn the camera here a little. So if you guys can see, I kind of got this little makeshift bench thrown here real quick. I've got a high-speed drill with a flap sander. I've got my Dremel 4000 with a steel bit in there. I've got a 80 grit flap sander on this grinder. I've got some saber tooth bits here in my die grinders. A couple things I'd like to do though when I get started is get everything set up so I'm ready to go. I like to make sure I've got my RZ mask for dust protection, because I mean you make a lot of dust when you're doing sanding. I also wear the same headgear I wear when I'm chainsaw carving. Keeps the dust out of my eyes. Got my ear protection all in one. Normally I just wear my carving shirt. Sometimes I put my chaps on just because if some of these tools get away from you, you get a good chance of hurting yourself. I also wear a pair of gloves. They're not cut resistant gloves or anything, they're just cheap Harbor Freight work gloves, but it's a little bit of protection on my hands. So right now I've got this little carving here. I started doing some sanding on it already, and he's still got a good amount of finishing work that needs to be done. Just a little guy here laying down. So I've started sanding the back. Now get real close here so you guys can see the rough edges here. I want to take all these rough edges out, get them nice and smooth. I'm not really going to do the detail of making it look like fur. He will get painted black though, but little carvings like this, I don't always take that time. It's not worth the extra time to put that fur in. People don't normally want to pay the extra for that, so I've found it better to just get them nice and smooth and paint it and finish it. So when I get to this point where it's ready to be finished, there's a couple things I like to start with. One, I might just hit it with the torch, knock down some of my rough edges, and well, it makes the piece a little bit drier so it's easier to sand and work with. Two, I like to hit it with the angle grinder and the flap sander. So the angle grinder will knock down those real hard edges, and you can still kind of shape the piece and work the piece, get it a little bit closer to what you want. And then the flap sander will really get in these little corners here. You can't quite get in there with a angle grinder. If you get around his face with the angle grinder, you got to be careful because you might, really mess up the shape of the face. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take the angle grinder, start working on the sides and start shaping this body, and stop and kind of show you guys what things look like.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying this video so far. If so, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe. I love seeing that other people are enjoying my videos, you're subscribing to my channel. I mean, that kind of support is it's really appreciated. Also, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I mean, I'm not going to answer ridiculous questions, but questions pertaining to the video, on how to do something, what kind of tool, something like that, I'll do my best to get back to you with a response. I just want to thank you guys again, and I hope you enjoy it.
So when you're sanding your piece and you come to an edge where the bark might have been, the outer edge, if it's molded and it's perfect the way you like it, still hit it with the sander. Because when you get ready to do paint and clear, if you don't rough that up with the sander, your paint and clear, they're not going to stick there at all. They're just going to end up peeling off. So this is where we're at so far. Like I showed you guys, that was pretty rough, like the front here. We're just shaping it around. We're knocking down those hard edges. Some of the cut lines they're still going to be there. They're just not as They're just not as defined. So I'm going to finish the work I got to do with the angle grinder real quick, and then we'll move into the next tool. Here's our little bear. Here's the work I just did with the angle grinder, just cleaning him up. Again, just 80 grit sandpaper on there. I did do around the face a little, rounded his cheeks, up behind the eyebrows, on the head. Not too worried about some of the lines that are still there. I'm not trying to get them all out, just, again, making sure they're not as defined as they were. So, moving on. What do we do next? Well, the next thing I'm going to use is one of my die grinders. Cheap one. Got this thing from Harbor Freight, like 50 bucks. But I did buy nice bits. This is a saber tooth bit. This is the taper bit. I think it's a medium for the grit, a medium grit. And what we're going to do with that is clean up around his nose here and start rounding this and start kind of cutting into the mouth just a little, cleaning up where his claws would be and potentially in the back here. I might even carve out the eyes. So there's quite a bit of work that can be done with this tool alone. I'll see if I can get the camera a little closer so you guys can see those shots a little bit better.
As you guys can see, I've got my saber tooth bit on there. That's the tapered bit. I'm just kind of rounding and taking down that hard edge on the end of his snout there.
As you guys can see there, I mean, it's pretty quick work. This thing isn't perfect, but that is the best part about doing a carving. You know, they don't always have to be perfect. They'll get better as you go. The more you practice, you'll get better techniques. My techniques are still improving in the way I'm doing things. I'm always adding different tools to my lineup just to be able to try different things and just make it a little easier. So when you look, you know, he's got his nostrils. We've got this corner rounded. We got his mouth open. His front claws and nails are done. These little ones back here are done. He does have a little tail there if you didn't see it before. So he's done. No, he's not. Just kidding. We still got to put some eyes in. We're gonna carve them in. So the eyes are something that I'm still working on perfecting. Well, my whole carving I'm still working on perfecting, but the eyes are something I want to be better at myself. I feel they're a little bit tricky. I don't want them too big. Don't want them too small. You don't want them to look, you know, goofy. So something I've just started to do more recently is carve into the wood, kind of recess the eyes a little bit, paint them a gloss black, put a little bit of white paint in there so they look a little more lifelike, and maybe put a gloss clear coat just in the eyes. What I'm going to show you guys is just those eyes, so it'll be a little bit of practice for me, and you guys can kind of see the way I'm trying to start to do these for now. Eventually, I want to carve them so that the eyes have a little bit of a bubble to the inside. But I think it's important first to get that basic shape that I want. And honestly, this guy's head is so little, I don't have a lot of room to really focus on detail with the eye. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, you know what, I think we'll just use that taper bit again. And we'll get in here and just kind of get these eyes roughed out. Just take a little bit away at a time and go from there. Alright, so as you guys can see here, nothing crazy with these little eyes. Just kind of pushed in with the taper bit, got them recessed in a little bit. I did use the end of it to just sort of round any hard edges over. You know, eventually I hope to be carving bears that look more realistic, so I mean that's the goal. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my flap sander. Flap sander's going to do is knock down any real hard edges, like the end of his nose here, and just kind of get in those spots where maybe the sander didn't get well. And it seems like it gives things more of a natural look because it rounds everything over. I think I've got 80 grit on there, so I'm going to go ahead and hit this real quick. Alright, well that is it. You know, our little bear laying down here is finished up, cleaned up, ready for paint or to hit with the torch. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do to him yet, but you know, he's ready for that step. So I know this video wasn't very long, but if this is your first time watching one of my videos, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe. That kind of support is appreciated, especially as I'm trying to grow this channel and just get more people into it, more people watching and subscribing. I hope this video was somewhat informational, somewhat helpful for you guys and girls that are starting out carving, kind of looking for tips, trying to figure out where to start with certain things. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask, I don't know, for a video if you have a question about something a little more specific. I might be able to put a video out on just doing eyes or the mouth or the nose or paws or something like that. I mean, I don't mind. It's good practice for me. It helps you guys out. I'm cool with that. Just comment below. Yeah, guess that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.